If your dream is to make comics for a job, whether you already accomplished it or not, one thing is for sure, it's a ton of work. The good news is that there are many paths and tactics to get there. The bad news is that there are many paths and tactics to get there. And unfortunately, even if you want to do them all, as many creative people we have this problem, it's really impossible to do everything. You can make your comic in an easy-ish platform like one page a week, like Tapastic or maybe Smack Chips. You can make a YouTube channel. You can publish longer episodes in platforms like Webtoon. You can join a comics collective, if they accept you, of course. You can make your comics in as many languages as you know, like for me, I would be able to make them in Spanish and English. You can make a Patreon, an online store, coffee, commissions, an Instagram, a Tumblr, more videos, submit to contests and editorials. Oh, I didn't mention animation or animatics and learning and practicing your art on top of everything. Oh, let's not forget about keeping a sketchbook, for crying out loud. It's just too much. That's really my situation, and I have found that many creative people have this problem. If we could do everything and have unlimited energy and time, we would do everything, but it's just not possible, especially if we want to make it in comics. Even though the other things are supposed to help us to get our name out there, it's at the same time work that takes you away from comics, and that's exactly my situation. The art that you are seeing right now, it's really an interlude because I'm still in hiatus from my comics and everything else, to be honest. When you see this video, you already are seeing that I am taking action and I am trying to do tons of things without disappearing again, because that's my goal here, to be able to juggle everything that I want to do without, stretching myself too thin and disappearing, because that's something that I tend to do, and it's not really good that I am building an audience that's reading my comics and I just disappear without letting them know when I'm coming back or anything. So basically this is an interlude that I am going to publish in Webtoon to let my readers know that I am coming back, and I am going to be publishing these interlude covers until I make my comeback. And here's the thing, how do we solve this situation? How do we juggle all those goals we want to do? There's a word that it's painful to say it, but it's called priorities. And the reason that that word is painful is because we have that synonym, that's sacrifice. Because the fact that my main priority will be my comic probably means that I won't have time to practice my animation, even though I do like it a lot. And you may say, no, you can do both, but that's the thing, it's not my priority. I was watching a video by Thomas Frank on this same topic, and he was talking about a fake conversation that Warren Buffett, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a very rich guy. In this fake story, he taught another person that he should write down all the things that person wanted to do and pick 5 of those things in a list A and the rest of the other things in a list B. List B was something to be ignored completely. So you can only choose like 5 priorities more or less, and I really wrote them down. And I realized that for me, it would be the Webtoon comic in English, YouTube, Winter Secrets on Tapastic, that's another comic in another platform, Instagram, and basically social life. That's my 5th one, which means, my boyfriend, friends, etc. That's an important one. Maybe for some other people, that's not an important aspect. I'm not adding so many stuff in these 5 priorities. And of course, these priorities take time. So basically, because I have so many goals and I really want to accomplish almost everything, I'm not following that advice of ignoring completely list B. I am more like, okay, try to accomplish list A, and if you have time And if you see that you are able to juggle everything, maybe start incorporating some of the stuff that's still in list B. So I guess that's my advice. Like your 5 priorities, figure them out. And after a while of being able to do those 5 priorities correctly, try incorporating everything in list B. But now that I think about it, I am actually having 7 priorities, because art practice, basically studying art, that's something that inherently you do every time you are drawing, but at the same time you do have to study because you may be practicing something that's wrong. Maybe I'm only adding it because I have the time right now. And the 7th thing that I am doing is working out, supposedly, but it's not as important. So if I don't do it, like, I don't really care. But, you know, it's for health reasons. It's not good for an artist to be sitting down so many hours. So that's why it's in there. Anyway, it's so much, and I can imagine your 5 priorities or even more that you have. You may not be able to stand only having 5 priorities. As you can see, I am having like 6 priorities and I am failing at all of them so far. Hopefully by the start of this video, oh my god, I should add Patreon to this. I wasn't adding that. Anyway, right now that I am coming back with everything, you know, the YouTube, the comics, Instagram even, I am trying to do all of them. But here's the thing, I will start by doing the most important ones, and if I cannot accomplish all, that's okay. But the important thing is that I keep the consistency as much as possible. And the thing that I am doing to accomplish that is to be a little bit more gentle with myself. For example, I was having the goal of making a comic episode or chapter every week, like 40 panels, more or less. Then I realized maybe for me, wanting to do so many stuff, like not only the comic but the YouTube channel, for example, making one chapter a week, it's impossible for me right now because I am a one team person that's doing everything. So what I did was, okay, I am going to publish a cover of the upcoming chapter in the first week, and in the second week I then post the entire chapter, or at least as much as I could possibly do in those 2 weeks. But in that way, that cover allows me to be able to publish one thing each week on the platform of my choosing to, and so I am trying to be softer with myself, but I don't know if I am truly doing it. But let's see how it goes. Literally, I cannot calculate my speed that far because right now I am finally finished with school. So I have lots of time, lots of freedom. But that's also something really dangerous because you have to have very good self-discipline, which I have a record of having very good discipline until the last more or less 1.5 years. Like lately it has been not as good as I would want to, but it's all in myself, so I really have to prove to myself that I really want this. Even if I don't accomplish it, I want to feel like, yeah, I gave it my best, and if it doesn't happen, it won't be because lack of effort. And I guess that's what I want to communicate. If you want to do everything, yeah, you can't. Not right now, at least. Maybe someday in the future when you are able to hire people for you to do even more stuff. But in the meantime, the important thing about those goals you have is to make a good job at them, and not because of lack of effort. And you giving your best at those goals, that's more important than having a million goals at the same time, because then it could be mediocre in all of them, which is something that I tend to do. It's a mistake I often do. It is also true to recognize that it is a ton of work to try to make it as a comic artist. And in some ways, I think that makes it even more worthwhile. So I got the idea of making these interludes from like a DC comic. You can even find it on Webtoon because it's a historical comic, so the author doesn't only spend lots of time making beautiful artwork, she also spends lots of time traveling, researching for the comic, historically accurate buildings, like she goes and takes pictures, tons of research, and I guess Patreon and Discord keep her very busy as well. I don't really know. I only know that she posts an update of her comic like every 6 or 3 months. I don't know exactly. I hope she is having a good time because it does seem like tons of work and I just don't know when is she going to be able to finish her comic. But she has like these interlude comics that make up for the time she's away. I guess that those are the comics that she publishes each like 3 months. So I was like, yeah, I can do that with simple covers as interludes, and that's also a good way to signal my readers that I am not dead and that I am working hard and planning to return. There are tons of mistakes with this artwork and I am ignoring them honestly because I didn't want to spend any more time in this when I have so many other stuff to do, but I think it looks basically okay. The colors help a lot. You know, I have a comic to do, so I shouldn't be spending that much time in this. And that's something that, you know, perfectionism is long gone. Well, it's not, but I am trying to ignore it. Because if you want to have so many goals as I have, you basically have to be quick and to decide where your quality and time will go. For now, I guess priorities is the way to go. Anyway, this is the start of something new. If you want to come along in this journey and check out my comics and Patreon, and if you can relate, you can, if you want, write in the comments what other videos you want to see, what are your priorities and struggles while balancing all the tactics that you maybe want to do for your comic and maybe you don't have time to do them all. And subscribe to the channel if you want more videos and give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.